If you go out for that TV show, you're going to have to burn a lot of bridges. Sidney Green even said he's going to blackball you if you miss another performance.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 TV character decisions that pissed fans off.
This isn't how this is how I wanted to do this.
I've decided that I'm not going back to Yale next year.
I will tell you one thing, Scotty. I have never been more disappointed in anyone in my life.
For this list, we'll be looking at all the choices that made you scream out "No" at your screens. Since we're talking about major moments, beware of spoilers ahead. What terrible decision did we miss? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. Alex goes back to Izzie, Grey's Anatomy. If you're a longtime Grey's fan, you've been through a lot with Alex Karev.
You're only ever nice or friendly or anything when it's convenient for you. So no to your favor, no to you, no.
He started off as Seattle Grace's resident jerk before quickly growing into a fan favorite. Some of that growth came from his relationship with fellow Dr. Izzie Stevens, who left the show in season 6. Since then, Alex continued to grow and married Jo. But then after 10, yes, count 'em, 10 seasons, Izzie came back.
Today, Izzie Stevens, our life together begins. And I, for one, can't wait.
And it turns out Izzie had Alex's kids via in vitro fertilization. Once he learns that, he leaves the show for good to be with her. That's it. No goodbyes to Meredith, Bailey, or even his wife, Jo. After 16 seasons with the character, that just doesn't seem like the Alex we know and love.
This isn't how this is how I wanted to do this. This isn't how Izzie and I were supposed to make a baby.
Number 9. Archie pleads guilty. Riverdale.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the evidence and testimony that was presented in this court tell a dark story. That Mr. Andrews has a history of violent behavior.
Riverdale is full of teenagers making bad decisions, but a certain choice made by our favorite red-headed jock takes the cake. At the end of season 2, Hiram Lodge frames Archie for taking someone's life. The jock spends the time between seasons facing trial. By the season 3 premiere, we were itching to know what would happen.
Guys, it's time. Judge just asked us back into the courtroom.
The jury couldn't come to an agreement, and there was almost a mistrial until Archie got in his own way. Not wanting to put his family through the stress of another trial, he took a plea deal, agreeing to spend 2 years in juvie.
Your Honor.
I'll take the deal.
No, we have to discuss this.
I can't put you and everyone else through this again.
But since his family now has to deal with the stress of their son being a convicted juvenile, Archie's choice was pretty disappointing. Number 8. Debbie gets pregnant on purpose. Shameless.
Please, Fiona. If you love me, you will support my decision in having this baby, because I know I'm going to be a great mom.
Debbie started off as one of the sweeter members of the Gallagher family, but as she moved into her teens, that sweetness quickly turned sour. When Debbie and Derek began dating, it seemed like a good thing for her until she messed that up.
I love you too, I think.
Really?
I think so.
That's so sweet. You're the sweetest.
Watching Fiona raise the Gallagher clan from a young age likely influenced Debbie's strong desire to be a mother. Unfortunately, Derek didn't know how serious she was. Debbie lied to him about being on birth control and told him they wouldn't need to use a condom. Her lie ended up pushing away Derek, Fiona, other members of her family, and probably some fans. It was a horrible decision all around.
I want to have a baby.
No, I know that you think that you do, but...
I know what I want and what I don't want.
No, you don't. You're just a kid.
Number 7. Scotty cheats on Kevin. Brothers and sisters.
I did something, Kevin. There was someone else.
Scotty and Kevin were such a highlight of brothers and sisters. While their relationship wasn't perfect, they had a strong bond and were nothing but open with each other. So when Scotty told Kevin that he once cheated on him and hid that fact, fans were understandably shocked.
But I will tell you one thing, Scotty. I have never been more disappointed in anyone in my life.
There was never any indication of infidelity, and it didn't seem like something was so wrong in their relationship that Scotty couldn't just talk to Kevin about his issues. Although the show tried to explain it away with flashbacks, the whole plotline seemed like a desperate attempt to drag up some drama between the two. It felt forced, and not at all in character for what we knew about Scotty.
You were supposed to be better than this.
I'm not. I'm just as lost and and damaged and screwed up as the rest of you.
Number 6. Emily dates a harsh teammate. Pretty Little Liars.
This is a practice, not a meet.
Looks like somebody ate their Wheaties this morning. Way to hustle, Emily.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, looks like you got some competition. Emily, remember, she likes to win.
When we first meet Paige, she's one of Emily's swimming rivals, but she ends up as something much more sinister. After Emily garners more favor from the team's coach, Paige pushes Emily down underwater.
What the hell? I saw the lineup. I know what you're doing. What are you talking about? Coach replaced me as the relay anchor with you. So go and talk to Coach.
We might understand if the victim in this scenario forgave her attacker, but the one thing we can't wrap our head around is that the two go on to date for a huge chunk of the show. And we have to repeat, this is after Paige attacked Emily. This is one questionable dating decision we will never forget.
Are you okay?
I felt pretty bad for a while, but I'm better now.
Number 5. Haley gets back together with Dylan. Modern Family.
Oh, grow up, Haley.
Sadly, she can't.
At the beginning of Modern Family, Haley was a young teenager who was wildly into Dylan. For a teen relationship, the two were pretty cute. But much of Haley's journey on Modern Family is about coming into adulthood and learning what it means to take responsibility.
May I remind you what they said to us last time when they escorted us out of the ball pit?
Excuse me, but this attraction isn't really for
adults.
Throughout her and Dylan's on-again, off-again relationship, the two prove time and time again that when they're together, they're not the best versions of themselves. So having Haley and Dylan get back together in the show's final season, have kids, and get married seemed a little forced. It's probably not how things would have played out in real life. Plus, we just loved her relationship with Andy so much more. Team Andy.
I don't regret a single minute I've spent with you.
I think you're the first man I've ever loved.
Number 4. Dan and Blair start dating. Gossip Girl.
Dan and Blair, individual entities, two proper nouns separated by a conjunction.
Or a comma, if mentioned in a list.
Which is rare, since we have nothing in common and are in fact opposites.
Sometimes the going from enemies to lovers trope works, but we certainly do not feel like the cliche works here. In the early seasons of Gossip Girl, Dan and Blair never got along. While he was too much of a Brooklyn boy for her tastes, she was too uppity for him.
Blair, I thought you were mad at me.
And you have my forgiveness if you shut up and guard the door.
It's not like you to forgive me or run away from a feast.
Plus, he was better with Serena. So, can anyone explain why these two suddenly got over their mutual issues with each other and kicked up a romance? There's not a lot of real build-up or will they won't they, it just sort of happens. After they break up, their relationship becomes even more toxic. Dan even helps ruin Blair's wedding. We'll never understand why they tried dating in the first place.
This was the only car with the keys in it.
It's fine, just go.
Number 3. Rachel moves to LA. Glee.
You know, I always thought that Fanny was the role that I was born to play, but when I read this is it. This is my dream role, you guys.
There were plenty of moments from Glee that could have made this list. The time Blaine cheated on Kurt was definitely a low point. However, seeing Broadway baby Rachel Berry moving to LA has to take the cake. When Rachel landed the role of Fanny Brice in the Broadway revival of Funny Girl, to astounding reviews we might add, it seemed like she had everything she'd ever dreamed of. Which is exactly why she decided to pick up and move to LA for a television show.
If I do this TV show, then I can come back to New York afterwards and do any show I want for 10 times the amount of money.
Understood, but if you're making that bet, I wish you'd bet on your voice.
This decision wasn't in line with anything we knew about Rachel. Luckily, she ends up back on Broadway and even becomes a Tony winner. But we still won't forget her wild moving choice.
Dreams really do come true, so thank you.
Number 2. Rory drops out of Yale. Gilmore Girls. Rory Gilmore was always a practical and driven teenager.
She's going to Yale, and that's good. Really good.
Nothing but smiles.
We're both very happy about it.
But towards the latter half of the series, she made a few decisions that had fans screaming at their televisions. Sleeping with Dean while he was married is up there with one of the worst things she's ever done. But the choice that really hurt Rory's character was dropping out of Yale.
I've decided that I'm not going back to Yale next year.
I'm sorry, I don't think I heard you correctly.
I'm not going back to Yale next year.
But why?
She worked incredibly hard to get into and even afford Yale. But after a few setbacks, she no longer feels like she can cut it and decides to drop out. Thank God Jess showed up to yell some sense into her, because that is not the Rory Gilmore we know and love.
Why did you drop out of Yale?
It's complicated.
It's not complicated.
You don't know.
This isn't you.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Daenerys incinerates King's Landing, Game of Thrones. We could point out a lot of poor decisions from Season 8 of Game of Thrones. Why does Jaime go back to Cersei? Was Bran really the best choice for King? But in a season of bad decisions, having the Mother of Dragons harm innocents by burning down King's Landing was unquestionably the worst. During the 8 seasons we spent with Dany, we learned she was capable of incredible mercy and brutal violence.
Mercy is our strength. Our mercy towards future generations. He will never again be held hostage by a tyrant.
But no matter what path she chose, there was always logic behind her decisions. That's why her King's Landing attack is so baffling. There's not enough build-up or reasoning for Dany to burn everything. While some scenes foreshadowed this event, there weren't enough scenes explaining why it happened at all.
It was necessary.
Necessary? Have you been down there? Have you seen?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.